Hi guys, welcome back to Shooter's Review. Hope you're having a great and a wonderful day. Today we're just going to go over some basics of pistol manipulation and a little bit of handgun safety and rules of shooting. Today, as always, with my Canik TP9 SFX, this is my everyday carry. This is my primary home defense. And here we have the Canik. First rule of gun safety: treat every gun as if it is loaded. So first things first, we're going to check the chamber. No magazine. We're going to visually inspect, make sure there's no round that could have got lodged in. Always check your firearm. Have an empty mag here because we're going to go over some loading also. The way I load that I found is a lot easier for loading. I have the Holosun 407C X2 on here. Grips, won't go over all of that. But yes, this is a great firearm. I recommend anyone to try this out. If you're interested in purchasing a firearm, this is an excellent choice. Okay, so we're clear. When you're inserting your magazine, this is going to be one of your first things. Inserting magazines, removing them. Pretty basic, straightforward, easy. Here you have your slide stop, slide release. And just like that, we don't recommend dropping your slide on an empty chamber. Why? Because when you have a round in the magazine, when you drop it, it gives some friction from it stripping the round off the magazine. So you don't have as much force dropping on that slide. Okay? So in just a second, we're going to load up a couple of rounds, and I want to show you how we load up our rounds. All right. Here, got a couple of 115 grain full metal jackets. Okay, the way I found best to load your magazine is start with, have your thumb on top of the round. The first one is going to be your most easy and basic. Just basically just push down against the follower. This is your follower. Okay, push down, insert. Now when each subsequent round after that, I find it easier if you take your thumb, push down, which is going to give you just that little bit of a drop. Same way, take your thumb, go over top, or do a pinch method. Pinch, push down, and follow in. Same way, thumb down, pinch, push down, follow in. This is the more easy method for me. I know a lot of people use mag loaders and these different things. I find them unnecessary. Maybe if you're going into the hundreds of rounds an extended range day, but when you're doing several magazines, a couple of boxes, this method is just as quick and as easy. Even when you get down to the heavier round, higher round count in your magazine, where you get more tension from the spring being compressed, this still is a excellent method, even if you have weaker hands. Okay, as we get ready to shoot, always you want to have ear protection. I know some people try to seem as tough guys or whatever it may be and say, I don't need ear protection. I want to tell you something. Maybe those initial shots, you're going to not have an issue, maybe a little bit of ringing in the ear. But over time, that extended exposure to that high percussion of a 9mm, 40 caliber, 357, whatever it may be, that longer exposure over time will wear on your eardrums, and you will end up having a lot of issues. So use ear protection. It's simple to buy. You can buy a in today's market, these are Radians. I got these from a Walmart, a local Walmart, for under 30 bucks. And these are the kind that I would prefer. Use any ear protection, but these, you put in a couple of AA batteries and you can turn these on, okay? So what these allow is for sound to pass through. So if someone's talking, someone hollers to you, tries to get your attention or speaks to you, you can speak and hear very good, and it actually will amplify sound, so you can actually hear further off in the distances, especially if you are on a range or anything. Someone can holler to get your attention, and if there's something wrong or whatever the case may be. But when there's a loud percussion, even when speaking, pop, that loud percussion will cause the earphones to initiate, and that's when their function becomes evident. They shut off the sound of loud percussive like explosions. So every time you shoot, it dampens the sound so you don't hear it, okay? But you're able to speak without issue. So we're going to get ready to load. Insert the magazine into the firearm, okay? Always, and I'm going to take it back out, always trigger, this is going to be your primary thing to know. Trigger finger discipline. I cannot stress this enough. Always getting into your mind that this is home. This is your home. Keep your finger here unless you're getting ready to shoot. Always keep your firearm pointed in a safe direction, okay? In case there's some negligent or accidental discharge. But today's firearms, unless you pull that trigger, it's not going to go off unless it's a SIG, okay? This is what this is here. This is the trigger safety, which is on most firearms except for something like a SIG or your revolvers, okay? This trigger will not depress unless this safety is initiated, which means your finger must be completely on the trigger, okay? But as you see, this trigger will not go back, okay? It is locked until, okay, once again, we want to make sure there's nothing in here until you put your finger on this safety, then you can depress it, okay? Without your finger on that safety, it will do nothing. Once your finger is on this safety, you see how it allows it to go further back and initiate. And with the Canik, something I love about, and this is virtually all Caniks after say 2019, 2020. This is a 2021 production, okay? Is their fantastic triggers. But this trigger is actually a trigger from, I want to say, CH Precision. Okay, this is the Hefe short stroke trigger. Okay, under 30 bucks. Under 30 bucks shipped. Flat face. The trigger that's in it is awesome. But this is probably about a 2.5 pound trigger. And like I said, this is my everyday carry, and I'm fine with that. But their triggers, once it breaks, right here, so there's your take up. And take up is the distance it travels to, it gets to what we call the wall, which is the point in which it will fire. So there's your take up and break. And then this short reset. Click right there. And if you can audibly hear that, again, right there. Okay, so we're going to insert our magazine with our rounds in here. Okay, finger will always remain up high. I mean, if you have to, bring it up as high up away from that trigger. Okay, the next step will be chambering around, which is simple as pulling back the slide. As you see, I have grip tape here because I prefer chambering from the mid slide versus pulling back here. I don't really care for that. I prefer this method. Okay, so we're going to put our magazine in, chamber around. Okay, now we're ready. The next is we have our target. We're going to have this, and we're going to have it pointed in a safe direction always. Here's a target. As you see, a lot of target, a lot of shooting. I'm a still over here, which I shoot at from time to time. I do enjoy paper targets because with paper targets you get to actually see where you're hitting. Okay, but still it's still enjoyable because it's reusable and you get that audible notification that you've hit, that ding. But right here we have a clean target, and we're going to put a couple of shots on here and see how this goes. All right, so now that we're loaded, facing a safe direction, I have a good backstop, which means what is beyond the target. Here I have a large mound of dirt, which is maybe 10 to 15 foot in thickness to stop each round. Plus I have some trees and a lot of boarding and timber to keep the rounds from continually traveling. Always facing a safe direction. If you're using a red dot sight, it's pretty straightforward. Place the dot on the target that you intend on shooting and pull your trigger. Okay, one of the keys that is a lot of people don't understand, that is undervalued, is the trigger manipulation. You want to pull that trigger straight back. Do not jerk it or anything of that nature. Straight back without disturbing your sight. Okay, so let's take a couple of shots and we'll see how that goes. So you present your firearm. As you see, no finger on the trigger until I have acquired my target, and then I'm ready to shoot. We want to establish a two-handed grip when able to, which gives you 2 points of contact and more control. My grip is take this meaty part of your hand, your palm, and this area here, you want to get as high up as you can underneath the backstrap or the tang. Okay, none of this, because what that does is it lends to, when that gun fires, it's going to, the slide wants to reciprocate back as to its furthest point, and it's going to jerk, and it's going to want to slam back. So to go against that, we want to get as high up as possible. Okay, as high as possible. Establish that grip. Okay, we want it smushed up in here. Take that palm, go into this available area, wrap your fingers around and grip this other hand. Okay, tight. This thumb really does not matter. I kind of rest it somewhat against the slide. It has no effect. I don't push against it, but it has no effect. This thumb is basically just get it out of the way. With your other thumb, you can either place it on this hand, or you can actually grab and actually pull in, okay? So you want to establish that grip. Establish it very well. Keep your wrists stiff. You want to lock them. Cant them forward to a lock position. None of this raising up where it wants to kick back. Lock it so that when it reciprocates, you're getting this type of motion. If when you fire, your gun leaves the hand, then you do not have a proper grip. When you fire, you want this hand to go with the firearm, or preferably to not move much at all, which means you have established a strong grip. If you notice when you fire and your firearm does this, then you need to tighten this grip up and reestablish it, okay? So, we'll acquire our target, right? Take the slack out of your trigger till you get to that wall, and then break your shot. That simple. We'll go again. And again. All right. We fired. We want you drop your magazine. Make clear. And I'm just going to let that round fall so that we can make clear. We're clear. No rounds in the chamber. Nothing in the magazine. And let's see. As you can see, we're at about 6 to 7 yards. And as you can see here, I'm a little bit low. And the reason for this is point of aim, point of impact. I have my sight set up a 25-yard zero. Why? That's a big topic of debate. Where should you zero your red dot sight? I have mine at 25 yards, and this is my mindset. If it's 10 yards and beyond, that's when, and if I have to take a shot like that, say if it's an active shooter, someone pulls a firearm from that distance and you need to engage them, anything of that similar nature, my mindset is that's when I'm going to need more precise shooting, okay? If it's inside of 10 yards or say 5 yards, I don't see a point in having a 5 or a 10-yard zero. Maybe that would be fine, but you need to know where your impacts are going to be. With the 25-yard zero, from 25 yards in, there's almost no deviation, meaning point of aim, where you aim, and where it impacts does not change basically at all. Until you get to about 5 yards, and you'll have approximately a half to a 1 inch drop, which means if you're at 5 yards and you aim dead center of a target, where you impact is probably going to be around 1 inch lower than where you aimed. Now, someone will say, oh man, I don't want it to impact like that. At that distance, at that range, 1 inch, you're going to be up close to a target. And say if you're aiming center of a forehead, you'll have a 1 inch drop. Okay? If you're aiming center face, it's going to be a 1 inch drop. Center of the chest, a 1 inch drop. And you have this, at this close, that target is going to be large. So 1 inch deviation anywhere is you're going to have an impact very small cone of deviation. Now, likewise, say you have a 10-yard zero or even less, which most people will not do that. Once you move back to where your accountability and the shot, the level of difficulty increases, then your shots can impact high. Okay? And if you're having to make a shot from that distance, your target's going to be smaller, which means if you go high, say you're aiming here, it's already going to be tougher, more difficult as it is. Say you're aiming center mass, you miss and it's high. You're aiming center, but your impacts are 3 to 4 inches high. Well, you already might not have chances are, especially under pressure, you're not going to have a perfect shot. So if you would have, from jitters or whatever the case may be, this is where your aiming ends up, which means you're going to go high over a shoulder. Okay? And you're accountable for everything in the background. Wherever that bullet goes, you are accountable. As some will say, every bullet has a lawyer attached to it. Personally, at close range, I would rather have a 1-inch deviation up close with a larger target versus a 2 to 3-inch deviation on a smaller target. That 1 inch up close, 1 inch versus 1 inch, just say if it was 1 inch on this, look at the difference. Okay, so for me, it's not really a no-brainer. But this is why the shots look a little low here. I did not account for my point of aim, point of impact, so to make that center shot, I would aim just slightly above the center of the bullseye to get a center mass bullseye hit. Okay, that's knowing your point of aim, point of impact, or as they say, knowing your dope, which is where your shots are going to land. Okay, but I hope this has been beneficial. Just some basics of going over using your firearm safety, and shot placement. As I said, one thing I encourage dry fire, which is no magazine, no ammo, and just practicing your trigger manipulation. And always, once again, want to check before I do anything. Empty, still empty. Practicing that trigger manipulation without disturbing your sights. Okay? And once you get more used to where your trigger breaks, it'll be easy to just pull go straight to the wall without worrying about overshooting and accidentally bam, or I thought that was it, and then accidental discharge. That's where dry fire will come in. Practicing straight to the wall. And then you reset. I hope this has been beneficial. If it has, please, it costs you nothing. Give a thumbs up. If not, please give me a comment. Let me know what you think that could be done differently. If there's anything else that might interest you, please give a comment. Try to address it, and hopefully this helps you in your training and in your journey as a concealed carrier or defender of yourself, your loved ones, and others. God bless you, and hope you have a wonderful day.